All right, we're gonna get this trade recap recorded. I took 2 losses today, and I'll show that on the dashboard. We took one loss per group. Okay, um, we lost $183 on one group of 5 accounts, and then we lost $114 on our highest group of accounts. Right, and again, I could show you guys this here also. I'll take a screenshot of it because why not? Um, there you go. You'll see that, right? This is what it's looking like. All right, so I want to go over the 2 trades that I took today. Were they the best trades? Maybe not. But again, it makes me more comfortable to take these trades or just take trades that I overall see. Um, because again, I'm alternating groups and I overall trusted my system today and I really wanted to target these 4 hour highs. So coming into the day, right? Let's go over the first trade. So we're going to go over the first trade that was taken on ES. I really thought NASDAQ was going to come for these 4 hour highs that we see, but we're going to rewind this over here on ES so we can go over this first trade. So we'll go over here, we'll go to market open, and we'll just go over to what was going on. So we ended up having a 4 hour high up here off market open that we could see that I thought we were going to sweep and maybe get a reaction off of, come down, take out these draws, and then continue higher, but we didn't get that. We just decided to continue higher. But what we could see is market open, we rip up, right? We'll go to the 5 minute time frame here. We rip up, we form a 5 minute fair value gap right here on ES, and I wanted to see price continue into this and then continue higher, right? So we have a 5 minute bullish fair value gap. And we had NASDAQ coming over here. I really wanted to target these 4 hour highs. If we look on the 4 hour time frame, we have no draws and liquidity over here that are going to stop us. We have these 4 hour bearish fair value gaps, but we've been filling these and reacting off of those for a long time. I thought we were just going to continue through these with force, which we did, but I really wanted to target my full take profit once NASDAQ took these 4 hour highs, and that's where I was going to take my full take profit on ES. I wasn't going to let it ride all the way to here, but once NASDAQ took those, I would take my profits on ES on this trade. So let's go to the 5 minute time frame on both indexes. We can see NASDAQ is just continuing higher, right? This is at 935. This is at 940, right? So we'll go to 940. We see price come into this 5 minute fair value gap. I scale down to the 1 minute time frame, and we'll go to the 1 minute time frame over here on NASDAQ. I decided to take this trade on ES because, yes, it was the lagging index based off the S&T, but I like the overall risk to reward on the trade, and I was still keeping an eye on NASDAQ, waiting for it to take out these 4 hour highs. And see what would happen, right? But I did take the trade on my FTMO accounts, and I posted that in the Discord and on my Instagram. But we could put this up here, our FTMO account. I keep saying accounts, but it's an eval. But we can go over today. We made $648, if you can see that. I'm not lying about it, but we made $648 on our eval. Taking it on NASDAQ, but I took it on ES, and we ended up getting stopped out on our PA accounts on ES. But we could see price came down to this 5 minute gap. We formed a 1 minute bullish S&T, right? So we'll put the S&T right here. NASDAQ formed a high and a higher high, right, off of this 1 minute low, which is at 938, 939, right? NASDAQ formed a low and a higher low. ES formed a low and a lower low, correct? Did I enter right off of that? No. On my eval account, yes, I did, right? This was my entry, and my stop loss was below this low, right? 51 points was a little bit too much for me on my PA accounts. But again, this was going to be the overall trade. I ended up taking my profits, and I'll show you when. But again, this is the trade that I took on my FTMO account. It ended up playing out, but on ES it didn't. So we formed a 1 minute SMT. We didn't break structure to the upside on ES yet. So what I wanted to wait for is a 1 minute break of structure to the upside, right? After forming a 1 minute SMT out of a 5 minute bullish fair value gap. Waited for my break of structure. What do we get? Bang, break of structure. There's my entry, right? Original stop loss was below this low for 8 points. Wanted to target a 1 to 2 to take off my one partial and go to break even. And then I was going to focus on NASDAQ over here whenever it wanted to hit that 4 hour high above. Then I would take my full take profit. Okay. So what ends up happening? Price continues higher. We form a 1 minute bullish fair value gap. Once we form that 1 minute bullish fair value gap, I moved my stop loss up below where this fair value gap was created, right? Reducing my risk to 5 points. Okay, so we reduced our risk. We're only risking $114 per account. We're going to target this area up here, which is a 1 to 2 based off my first stop loss, and take a partial, go to break even, let it ride until NASDAQ took out those 4 hour highs. So we could see we form another bullish fair value gap, which I was like, sweet, dude, I thought this was going to run. I end up marking these out, and I was like, if we end up inversing these, we'll probably get stopped out. We'll see what happens. So we have 1 minute bullish here, and then we have 1 minute bullish right here. But we could see What ends up happening? Price ends up coming down to that 1 minute bullish. We end up respecting it. I was like, all right, we're probably gonna pump. Nasdaq's pumping higher. We're getting close to these 4-hour highs. We're about 59 points away, right? I thought we were gonna keep continuing higher. But in the reality of things, we ended up coming down. Thought we were gonna go back up again. We end up inversing that fair value gap. We come down here. We inverse this fair value gap. We get stopped out, and that's part of it. And then price just keeps chopping around, and pretty much hasn't done anything, right? We got caught in chop, which is fine. Again, I can't predict the future. So that is the first trade we ended up taking. Totally okay with that loss. So what I did now is I ended up switching groups, right? We're alternating groups. So I ended up alternating to group number 2 out of the 20 accounts. And the one thing I am upset with myself with a little bit today is I did say I was going to be done trading at 120 after that trade, but I didn't. And we ended up getting a setup and I took it. Okay. But once we got stopped out on that trade over here, again, I was talking about this trade before. Once we got stopped out, which was around, we'll go to the 1 minute time frame. Once we got stopped out, which was around 9:57, price ended up coming back up and I took my profit around 10 a.m. over here on NASDAQ. So this is where I took my profit, somewhere around here, to make that money on my FTMO eval account. Again, I probably would have been at break even here if I took the trade on NASDAQ, which I should have because it's the leading index. I don't know why I did. I could have even moved my stop loss here, right to here, maybe even took in a partial somewhere around here. But again, it's all good. Shoulda, coulda, woulda, part of it. And yeah, it is what it is. So regardless, we'll X this trade out here. Let's go over NASDAQ. Okay, let's go over the trade we ended up taking here. So we can see we ended up forming a 15-minute fair value gap. We formed a 15-minute fair value gap below, right? I was scaled down to the 5-minute time frame. The 10 a.m. macro opened up. I wanted to see what we could get. Again, I didn't stick to the rule of saying I'm going to be done at 10:20, but I stuck to my 2-trade rule. I stuck to my risk. Didn't overtrade, alternated groups. I followed my overall long-term system. But again, something in my brain and in my gut was saying, hey, price is looking choppy. You should probably get off around 10:20. I didn't do that. Ended up taking another trade. But again, part of it, right? We ended up stopping after that. But we could see if we go to the 5-minute time frame, we had a 5-minute bearish fair value gap here coming out of a 15-minute fair value gap, right? So we end up coming up. We inverse this 5-minute fair value gap. We never broke structure to the downside in the 5-minute time frame. We came up. We inverse this 5-minute bearish fair value gap, as you can see right here. I decided to scale down to the 1-minute time frame, right? We scale down to the 1-minute time frame. Let's go to replay mode over here. After we inverse that gap, right? We inverse that gap. We broke structure on the 1-minute time frame. We're looking overall bullish, higher time frames bullish. We form a 1-minute bullish fair value gap right here. 1-minute bullish. I wanted to see a retrace into something and wait for the overall trend to continue higher. So we 1-minute bullish right here. And I marked that equilibrium, right? We can see price came into both of these fair value gaps right here. We reacted off of equilibrium. I didn't enter off of that candle yet. I wanted to wait for a little bit more confirmation. Didn't like that candle, but we still didn't inverse this gap. And then we end up getting a nice bullish candle closure out of that gap. That was my entry. Stop below this low, which was around 33 points, which is, I was okay with that risk. I went in 3 micros off of that. Break even was going to be at this high, and then I was going to target this 4-hour high above because I was so set on it. And then when it ends up happening is we get stopped out right away, which is okay. Overall, like the trade, it is what it is. But again, regardless, yeah, I mean, 2 trades were taken. Followed my 2-trade rule. I trusted my trades. I saw setups. I didn't get FOMO. I didn't try and force anything to make money. I just thought that we were going to continue higher and take out this 4-hour high, especially how market opened. I know we needed a retrace, but again, we were in these 4-hour gaps, and we inverse this 4-hour, we inverse this 4-hour, and usually when we move through these 4-hour gaps like this and we have no draws and liquidity to react off of and retrace, I really thought we were going to continue straight up right through it and target this 4-hour high. And I really thought originally off the first trade, that was our small little retrace into the 5-minute fair value gap that we had created. And then we were just going to continue higher, and NASDAQ was just going to keep pumping. But then I gave it another shot. We came into a 15-minute fair value gap, which we're still just chopping in and respecting right now. And then we ended up inversing a 5-minute fair value gap. Break even could have been at this high, and then target that 4-hour high above, which would have been around 80 points away, which I really thought was going to happen. But again, shoulda, coulda, woulda part of it, and there's nothing else we could do. We took our losses, and that's it. So overall, we're still up good on the month. Let's go to my month data. Here's this month. Again, we're still up around 9,000 on the month. We have a 63% win rate, profit factor 1 to 9.2. Again, we're still doing good on this month, right? Basically two losing days. But again, we're looking good. We're looking good. Again, just being transparent of where I am in my journey. I have all my accounts up of where they're at, all my PA accounts, and we could show those also. But the highest accounts where we took the first trade on, they're still at the 51,673 is the highest one. So these guys are in the 51,000 range, so we're getting close. And then the second trade that we took the second loss on, these guys were close to 51,000, and then we ended up taking that loss on those, and then they're around the 57,700 range. And then we have all these 10 accounts, which you should be able to see, that we resetted, because again, I made that video the other month, and again, I had 10 evals already passed that were going to expire, so I decided to just go balls to the wall on the ones that I had. Because regardless if I blew them, it's either they expired and I started off with fresh accounts, but the accounts that I ended up blowing were at like $1,500 drawdown, because January was a bad month. And yeah, but the other accounts with January, we built back up to $2,000 of drawdown. We're chilling right now. They were around the $2,500 point, but again, yeah, today we're past the $2,500 drawdown. We were up money on that ES trade, and then we ended up getting stopped out. So part of it. But regardless, we're doing good. I really think these 4-hour highs are going to get hit either later in the day or something. I don't know. Maybe tomorrow we could target them and come into like a fair value gap that we create down here, because now we created an hourly fair value gap. Maybe do something like this. But again, we'll see what happens. I like the trades I took today. You can say whatever you want about them. Again, this is where we learn to just accept losses and do the right things and follow our system, because losses are going to happen. And again, this is where I'm trying to build more confidence in who I am as a trader, the trades I take. Some trades I'm going to be confident in, and they're going to lose. Again, could I maybe prevented taking trades today because, again, overall market open, we just ripped and had no retracements? Yes, but there's been many times before where I've seen price retrace and still continue higher. I saw a setup, I took it, and that's just part of it. At the end of the day, I followed my rules, followed my system, followed my risk, followed everything that I'm supposed to. That's going to keep me profitable over a long period of trades. And again, that's what I'm just trying to focus on right now, and not just focus on winning as much as I can and winning as much money. But regardless, it's been a good month compared to last month, as we could tell, right? A lot more red days compared to last month. But overall, we're just doing good. We're slowly growing, and we're just coming back to what we need to do. And again, time will tell. I always say that, but time will tell, and we just got to keep doing the right things and just focusing on getting better every single day, right? That's all we got to do. Time will tell. We just got to keep doing the right things, because when you rush the process, that's when everything blows up, and months and months months and months of stuff that you accomplished and built these accounts to gets wiped out very quickly. And I showed that and proved that to the Discord. Again, when I rushed the process to try and get these accounts to a higher position, because I had the ability to, since I already had evals passed and they were going to expire, and why not, So again, just going to keep growing. That's all we could do. It's going to take time. We'll see where we are by the end of 2026. That's the end of my goal. And yeah, today's a losing day, but I feel good, and that's what I like. So that's about it. All right. Peace out.